Imagine living in a world where every shadow, every sneeze, and even the way the wind blew carried a hidden meaning. For our ancestors, life wasn't just about survival. It was about pleasing unseen forces and avoiding bad omens. Ancient civilizations lived under a constant cloud of superstition. A broken mirror could doom your future. A black cat crossing your path might signal death. A simple sneeze could be interpreted as a message straight from the gods. Today, some of these beliefs might sound funny, even bizarre, but thousands of years ago, people truly lived and died by them. Superstitions weren't just silly stories, they were rules that guided entire cultures, shaping rituals, traditions, and even laws. In this video, we're diving into the strangest, most fascinating superstitions from across the ancient world. From sacred cats in Egypt to terrifying curses in India, and from Viking runes to Japanese shapeshifters, these are the beliefs that once held the power to control people's lives. So watch till the end, because what you're about to hear will change the way you see the past. Ancient Egypt, the power of cats. In ancient Egypt, cats were far more than adorable companions. They were sacred beings, believed to carry divine power. To the Egyptians, cats embodied protection, mystery, and even the presence of the gods themselves. The goddess Bastet, often depicted with the head of a lioness or domestic cat, was the symbol of home, fertility, and protection. Because of her, cats became guardians of households, thought to ward off evil spirits and bring good fortune. But the reverence went even deeper. Harming a cat, whether on purpose or by accident, was considered an offense against the gods. Ancient records tell us that killing a cat could lead to severe punishment, sometimes even death. That's how seriously Egyptians took their feline protectors. When a family cat passed away, the mourning rituals mirrored those of a human family member. People shaved their eyebrows as a sign of grief, offered prayers, and sometimes even mummified their cats to ensure their safe journey into the afterlife. To us, it might seem extreme, but in ancient Egypt, cats weren't just pets. They were spiritual guardians and a link between the mortal world and the divine. Greece, sneezes as omens. In ancient Greece, even the smallest, most ordinary things could carry a hidden meaning. Take sneezing, for example. To us, it's just a reflex. But to the Greeks, it was a divine signal, a direct message from the gods. A sneeze at the right moment could be seen as a heavenly yes, giving approval for a marriage, a journey, or even a battle. On the other hand, a poorly timed sneeze might be taken as a warning to stop immediately. Imagine standing before a crowd, announcing an important decision, and suddenly someone sneezes. The entire outcome could change. Greek writers like Xenophon and even Homer in the Odyssey mentioned sneezing as an omen. In fact, in Homer's epic, a sneeze was once interpreted as proof that the gods favored Odysseus's plans. For the ancient Greeks, no moment was too small to escape the gaze of the divine. Even a simple sneeze could shape the course of history. Rome, curses and evil eyes. In ancient Rome, one of the greatest unseen threats wasn't an invading army, it was a stare. The Romans feared something called the evil eye, a curse believed to be cast with nothing more than a malicious glance. They thought envy and jealousy carried real, destructive power. If someone looked at you with hatred, it could bring sickness, misfortune, or even death. No walls, no soldiers, no weapons could protect you from it. To defend themselves, Romans carried charms and amulets. Some were shaped like open eyes to reflect the curse back. Others, surprisingly, were shaped like clenched fists or even explicit symbols meant to scare away evil forces with shock value. Archaeologists have uncovered countless of these amulets in Roman ruins, showing just how widespread the fear of the evil eye truly was. For Romans, danger wasn't always a sword, it could be as simple as a look. Mesopotamia, ghosts everywhere. In ancient Mesopotamia, the line between the living and the dead was thin, terrifyingly thin. People believed that restless spirits wandered freely, haunting those who had wronged them, or simply because they were forgotten. Nightmares, sudden illness, or strange misfortunes were often blamed on angry ghosts. To protect themselves, people turned to priests who specialized in rituals. They burned incense, offered food and drink, and whispered prayers to calm the spirits. Some families even buried protective charms with their loved ones, hoping to keep their ghosts at peace. Others carried small figurines or magical seals to ward off the dead. To the Mesopotamians, ghosts weren't distant or imaginary, they were everywhere. And unless you followed the right rituals, the dead could become a daily problem for the living. China, the fear of the number 4. In ancient China, numbers carried more than mathematical value. They carried spiritual weight, and one number in particular was deeply feared, the number 4. Why? Because in Mandarin, the word for forsei sounds almost identical to the word for dethisi. This chilling similarity gave the number an ominous reputation, one that still lingers today. For the ancients, the connection wasn't just coincidence, it was destiny. People avoided the number in house addresses, ceremonies, and even important dates, believing it invited misfortune or tragedy. The fear was so strong that even emperors were cautious about it, ensuring that rituals or battles never aligned with the dreaded number. And just like the Western fear of 13, many modern Chinese buildings still skip the 4th floor entirely. To the ancient Chinese, numbers weren't neutral. They were forces that could shape life and death itself. Vikings, magical runes. For the Vikings, writing was never just about words, it was about magic. Their alphabet, known as runes, was believed to hold mysterious powers. Carving them wasn't simply communication, it was spellcasting. Warriors etched runes onto their swords and shields, convinced the symbols would grant them strength in battle or protect them from harm. Sailors carved them into their ships, hoping for calm seas and safe passage across stormy waters. Runes were also used for divination. Shamans and seers would cast rune stones and interpret how they landed, reading the future in their patterns. To the Vikings, fate wasn't random, it was written in the runes. These symbols weren't taken lightly. To carve them was to tap into forces far greater than yourself, calling on the gods for help or for doom. Japan, kitsune, and shapeshifters. In ancient Japan, foxes known as kitsune were far more than clever animals. They were believed to be shapeshifters, beings that could slip between the world of humans and the spirit realm. Some kitsune were seen as wise guardians, messengers of the god Inari, bringing protection, wealth, and good fortune to those who respected them. Farmers often left offerings of rice and sake, hoping to win a kitsune's favor. But not all fox spirits were kind. Legends tell of mischievous or even dangerous kitsune, tricksters who could disguise themselves as beautiful women, travelers, or even household servants. Once inside someone's life, they might play pranks or take control entirely through possession. Meeting a fox on a lonely path at night was considered both a blessing and a warning. You never really knew whether you were looking at an ordinary animal or something far more powerful. Africa. Witchcraft and protective charms. In many parts of ancient Africa, the unseen world was just as real as the one people walked upon. Witchcraft wasn't only feared, it was respected, believed to hold the power to heal, protect, or destroy. Communities often turned to shamans or spiritual leaders who acted as mediators between the living and the spirit world. These figures crafted charms, amulets, and talismans, each designed to shield the wearer from curses, sickness, or evil spirits. Protective necklaces made of beads, bones, or carved wood were passed down through families, believed to carry generations of spiritual strength. Even hunters wore charms to ensure success and safety in the wild. To the people of ancient Africa, magic wasn't superstition, it was survival. A protective charm wasn't just jewelry. It was a lifeline against forces that couldn't be seen but were deeply felt. Medieval Europe, fear of witches. During medieval times, Europe was gripped by an all-consuming fear of witches. Magic wasn't just folklore, it was seen as a real threat to life, property, and even the soul. Anything unusual could be a sign of witchcraft. A sudden illness, a spoiled crop, or even a black cat wandering near your home. People believed witches could curse you from a distance, using spells, potions, or the power of the devil himself. To protect themselves, communities carried holy objects, crosses, charms, and holy water, often reciting prayers throughout the day. Trials and accusations were common, and the smallest suspicion could spiral into fear and persecution. In this era, superstition and law were intertwined. People didn't just avoid witches, they hunted them, trying to root out the unseen forces that seemed to lurk around every corner. India, the power of curses. In ancient India, curses weren't just stories, they were warnings written in stone. People believed that offending the gods, stealing sacred objects, or breaking taboos could bring devastating consequences, sometimes lasting generations. Temples carried inscriptions warning of curses for anyone who disrespected the sacred. These weren't idle threats. Families genuinely feared divine punishment, believing misfortune, illness, or even death could strike at any moment. Priests and holy men played a central role in protecting communities, performing rituals to lift curses or prevent them from taking hold. Offerings of food, flowers, or incense were made to appease angry spirits and gods alike. In this world, the invisible carried power. A curse wasn't just superstition, it was a force that shaped decisions, guided behavior, and controlled the fate of entire families. India, the power of curses. In ancient India, curses weren't just stories, they were warnings written in stone. People believed that offending the gods, stealing sacred objects, or breaking taboos could bring devastating consequences, sometimes lasting generations. Temples carried inscriptions warning of curses for anyone who disrespected the sacred. These weren't idle threats. Families genuinely feared divine punishment, believing misfortune, illness, or even death could strike at any moment. Priests and holy men played a central role in protecting communities, performing rituals to lift curses or prevent them from taking hold. Offerings of food, flowers, or incense were made to appease angry spirits and gods alike. In this world, the invisible carried power. A curse wasn't just superstition, it was a force that shaped decisions, guided behavior, and controlled the fate of entire families. Aztecs, blood for the gods. For the Aztecs, the sun itself depended on human blood to rise each day. Their religion held that without sacrifices, the universe could collapse, plunging the world into darkness. Temples were filled with ritual spaces where priests performed ceremonies to honor the gods, often offering blood or even human life as a gift. These weren't acts of cruelty for cruelty's sake. They were deeply spiritual, believed to maintain balance between gods and humans. The Aztecs saw life and death as intertwined, and blood as the ultimate form of energy, capable of sustaining the gods themselves. Warriors, captives, and sometimes volunteers participated in these rituals, all with the belief that their sacrifice kept the sun shining and the world alive. To outsiders, these practices seem shocking, but to the Aztecs, it was the ultimate duty, a sacred responsibility linking humanity to the divine. 3. Strange everyday beliefs. Not all ancient superstitions were grand rituals or cosmic sacrifices. Some were surprisingly ordinary, yet deeply believed. People thought that whistling indoors could summon evil spirits. Spilling salt was considered bad luck, often followed by tossing a pinch over the left shoulder to reverse the curse. Knocking on wood became a daily habit, a simple gesture to ward off misfortune before it struck. Even minor actions were weighed for their spiritual consequences. Sleeping with your feet facing the door, opening an umbrella indoors, or stepping over a broom could all invite bad luck. These small rituals offered a sense of control in a world full of unpredictability. For our ancestors, superstition wasn't just fear, it was a way to navigate the uncertainties of everyday life, turning caution into a spiritual practice. Why did ancient people believe in such strange and sometimes terrifying superstitions? The answer lies in uncertainty. Life in the ancient world was unpredictable. Disease, natural disasters, and death could strike at any time. Superstitions offered explanations for the unexplainable. They gave people a sense of control when the world felt chaotic and dangerous. A ritual, a charm, or a prayer could provide comfort, even if the threat was invisible or imagined. These beliefs weren't just cultural quirks, they shaped behavior, traditions, and even laws. Following them could mean survival, social acceptance, or protection from unseen forces. In a time before science and medicine, superstition was a way to survive and make sense of the world. In short, ancient superstitions weren't random. They were tools for understanding, coping and protecting themselves in a harsh, unpredictable world. From sacred cats in Egypt to curses in India, from Viking runes to Japanese shapeshifters, ancient superstitions shaped the way people lived, feared, and celebrated. These beliefs might seem strange to us today, but to those who followed them, they were very real and often a matter of life and death. Superstitions connected humans to the unseen, guided behavior, and offered comfort in a world full of uncertainty. Which of these ancient beliefs surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we'd love to hear. And if you enjoyed this journey through the mysterious world of ancient superstitions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more fascinating history videos.